I have kind of a little bit of bad news to break to you. You kind of missed 4 deadlines already. Yes, I know you think you're being proactive, but the law kind of said you had to start in August last year. So we'll start in August next year, at least for 2026 tax year, right? So in May, you have to make the quarterly payment. Remember that email that we got? Your quarterly payment is 67,000. Remember that 67 is at the very bottom of the email also. And it says your total amount is 271. Okay. So by September, you have to part with 271. You may have to pay a lot less because you may not have such a lucrative side gig, but put in your actuals into that form and then you will get a balance tax payable, right? That is your total expenditure by the 30th of September. Here we go. If you want to keep the government happy, you can pay something in. I would recommend you pay something in May so that they don't start looking for you too bad. Because remember, when the bank receives the money and when you convert the money to rupees, so when the bank receives the money, they report it to central bank and they also report it to the Indian Revenue Department. When you convert rupees to dollars to rupees, they notify central bank, who also notifies the IRD, sadly. So yeah, if you want to plan your cash flow, you can pay a little bit in May, pay the balance in September. Okay, so you've paid your taxes. Let's say you've paid your taxes and you're quite pleased. The main thing is to contribute to the economy and the amazing work that the government is doing in terms of provision of our services, because there's a lot of infrastructure work that needs to go in and a lot of management that goes into running this country. So you have to contribute socially. So you do that. That's still not enough. You need to file a tax return by the 30th of November. So you remember one of the things I said earlier on was you're taxed on income, not on assets. But I also said that tracking assets. They're particularly keen on tracking assets this year because the new government has been very strict with them, with the public servants, saying, declare your assets in full, and they arrested a few people for not declaring their assets properly or declaring it incorrectly, probably by accident, obviously, right? But they're tracking the difference in assets. So make sure you declare everything and keep it clean, right? You don't want to get penalized because the money you have is clean. Now, that's what you need to do for 25-26, right? Please don't shoot the messenger. But the government will need you to do an annual estimation for the next year also, right? Now, before that, what happens in between the estimation? And please remember, right? If you underestimate a little bit now, and then you get the actual information from your banks and all of this, we can give you 100% accurate calculation, and please don't overpay. You'll never get it back. Or you get it back by the time the money is worth a lot less, right? So use an accurate calculation and file that return. The penalties for not filing a return on time. Okay, they don't penalize everyone, right? I will be honest with you. But when they do penalize you, it's a 50,000 rupee upfront penalty and 10,000 a month for each month delayed, up to a maximum of 400,000 rupees per return, right? And when they come after you, they're not nice. They say when it rains, it pours. So they whack you with a penalty for not filing an estimate. Even though now the IRD has closed the estimation, they'll whack you with a penalty for that as well as a return. So it's 100,000 upfront and 20,000 a month for that. Really ugly. Don't waste money. Yeah. So we'll send you emails like a month before every payment deadline with the amount, and we'll also log into the IRD system for you, generate the DIN number. So you have a TIN number to identify you, okay? Unique identifier for the tax department to know that the person with your unique identity card number is actually you to pay taxes. Then they give you a PIN number to log into the system, okay? And then in order to make a payment, remember, as you can see here, there are 4 quarterly payments and a final payment. So guys, listen, it's not complicated. You have an estimation at the start of the year. You pay the 4 quarterly payments. Then you calculate actually what you have to pay at the end of the year. And you pay the final payment. That's the 7. It's not complicated, right? Estimation, 4 quarters based on estimation. Calculate the accurate thing, pay on the accurate thing. Finished. And we'll send you the payment notices, reminders, all of this. Technically, the tax law was supposed to change on the 1st of April again, but the government took so long not passing the bill that they circulated, freaking people out, that day before yesterday, another dude took them to courts challenging the bill. So they will amend it and then they'll put it out, may put it out later in the year, which means you will have two different tax regimes during one financial year. This has happened twice before, 1920, where you had 9 months of one tax law, 3 months of another tax law. And then after the economic crisis, 22 had 9 months of one tax law, 23 had 3 months of a different tax law, different rates, different thresholds, different deductions. It's almost like I'm doing exams every few months. I thought that was done, but what to do?